Come down to a seated position on your mat when you're ready. I'm loving this position of sitting on a rolled up blanket like a bolster. But you might like to sit down and seated cross-legged. You might like to sit down on the floor, because in my humble opinion, this position here works best when there is a blanket. If you're having to just kneel, it's really hard to settle into the body and gain that awareness of how your body's feeling. Because sometimes it can be really hard on your knees. We're a little bit tight through the hips or the brows. So if you don't have a blanket, if you don't have a bolster or a cushion, just come and sit down and seated cross-legged. And just close your eyes for a moment and just check in with how you're feeling. How's your body? Are there any aches or pains or niggles? Just noticing, becoming aware. And maybe by that simple act of becoming aware, you find that your breath frees up a little bit. By the simple act of becoming more present, becoming more grounded in this space that you're in at the moment, in this space of your body on your mat in the room. Maybe that's enough to free up your breath. Or maybe it brings your attention to your thoughts, and your thoughts are a little busy, casting forwards into the future, pulling in from the past. And so bring them back to now. And in this moment, you're here, exactly where you need to be. And to be here completely. Modify as you need to throughout your practice. Your practice can be modified to fit your body. Yes, your body may become stronger and more flexible through your practice. That's not really your body modifying for your practice, right? We're going to keep modifying our practice to suit our bodies. Let's take a big inhale and a stretch. And notice. Yeah, for me, when I inhale and stretch, my breath is a little restricted. So I'm playing around with how to fill up a little more, how to make that a little fuller. Maybe it's the same for you, maybe it's not. You're all unique. Reach those hands out a little wider, stretch the fingers away. Now turn your gaze out towards your right fingers. So that lovely stretch across your neck. Maybe you can feel it all the way down to your fingers, maybe particularly all the way down to your middle finger, maybe somewhere else. Keeping those arms extended, we're going to bring our gaze back to center. And then we're going to turn our gaze out towards the left hand. Right, can you feel that stretch again? Pull all the way down towards your fingers. Maybe, maybe not. It's okay if you can't as well. And then we're going to bring our gaze back to center. Can you bring your right arm across your body, sweep your left arm underneath, take hold of your shoulder, give a little squeeze, a little massage out all the way down to your elbow, and then slide that hand down to your wrist, and just extend away. Now, sometimes we have the habit of leaning across as we do this. Let's draw that right shoulder back a little, even if it brings your arm a little more towards the center than out to the side. Just taking that little stretch through your shoulder, not pulling. Yeah, just exploring. And then reach those arms out again. This time we're going to turn our palms towards the ceiling and we're going to lower our chin. Get a little stretch there, going all the way through the palms of your hands. And then let's lift our gaze again. We're going to draw our left ear towards our left shoulder, just really mildly. Feel that stretch. And then come back to center. And now just lowering your right ear towards your right shoulder, feeling that lovely stretch, that lovely lengthening. And then coming back to center. Now we're coming through the other side. Yeah, so we're going to move the left arm in front of the body. We're going to sweep the right hand underneath, taking hold of the shoulder, giving it a little squeeze. And so if you missed that, the left arm across the body, right arm reaches across, squeezing down from the shoulder, getting to the elbow, a little bit of pressure there, and then taking hold of your wrist, drawing it across, but drawing your shoulder back in the other direction. So all we're doing is exploring a little stretch through the shoulder, exploring our range of movement here, but not pulling. Be kind to your body. Because your body is what it is, right? And your body is your body. This is the body that you've been blessed with. So enjoy it, love it. We have a bit of time here in our practice for some self-love. And then back to center. We're going to reach those arms out again. Now this time we're going to turn our palms towards the back. Yeah, so we're rotating. Our thumbs rotate, glide down. As we turn our palms towards the back, maybe you can turn those thumbs a little further. Yeah, just play around. Can you do that or not? And this time we're going to lift our gaze. How does this feel? Does that intensify a stretch? And then let's lower those hands down towards the floor. If, like me, you're seated up on a bolster or on a rolled up blanket, which I find just as good as a bolster, and you can move quite easily into the next pose. If you're in seated cross-legged, we're going to come into child's pose. So when you're ready, come up into a kneeling position. Yeah, and then just glide your hands forwards, extending them out and lowering your thinking towards the floor. Now the pose that I'm in now, stay there in your child's pose. The pose that I'm in now, sitting up on this blanket, is far more supportive for my knees. So if you're struggling with your knees, with your hips, any of the joints down through your lower body, then I do recommend getting a bolster, getting a big blanket and just taking it into class with you. It's going to be your new friend, right? You're going to start to carry it around and it's going to be your buddy in both class. I would be very surprised if any yoga teacher ever questions you taking a blanket into class. But maybe in a hot yoga studio, it might not be suitable. But any practice of mine, I'm never going to challenge to bring a blanket. Now from this pose, from this little child's pose, what I'd love you to do is I'd love you to glide your right arm, palm towards the ceiling underneath your left armpit and reach it out to the side. Seeing if you can kind of lower down so that now you bring your gaze out towards your fingers. Right, so it's just a gentle stretch. And so just exploring that stretch now. Go through your shoulder again. That's it. And then we're coming back to center. That right hand reaches out. I'm going to bring that left palm slightly underneath the armpit. And again, we're going to bring our gaze out under the arm towards those fingers. And then bringing that left hand back. Let's tuck our toes. If you've got a blankie underneath it, just slide it out towards the side. You can pop it back there whenever you need it. Pressing down into your palms, we're going to come into our downward facing dog. Yeah, and just explore that pose. A little rock from side to side, maybe grounding down through your heels. Press down into your fingers. Now that grounding down through the heels, now I only really mean that if you're rocking from side to side and drawing one heel at a time towards the floor. The action of grounding down through your heels and down dog with both heels is quite a strong movement and you may or may not be ready for it. Yeah, and so it's all good to soften your knees, to bend your knees and really shine your hips back. Without shining today on this sunny day. And then from there, we're going to rock forwards and we're going to come into plank pose. Now you're going to remember that you're loving this body of yours because plank pose is going to be suitable for some of you and not suitable for others. And if it's not suitable for you, I want you to straight away lower your knees down to the floor. And to make that more likely for people to do, I'm going to take that modification. People are often more keen to do a modification if I'm doing it. Now, so if you want to, your knees are lifted and you're in full plank, but otherwise your knees are lowered and you're down here with me. We're going to lift our left leg out behind us. Yeah. And then we're going to see if we can squeeze that left knee towards the back of the left arm. Now I'll show you that in full variation. Left leg back behind us. And squeezing that left knee towards the back of the arm. Right, pop that left foot back down on the floor. Lower those knees. Press back for a moment into your child's pose, but this time, don't lower your head. Rest on your elbows and roll your wrists. Getting some movement through your wrists, clenching and unclenching your fists, right? Maybe your hands have been quite busy this morning. So just giving them some time to notice how are they doing, how are they feeling today. And if your fingers are sore, then just be conscious of that. Yeah? Not too much kind of squeezing and moving through the joints. Let's bring those hands back to the floor. Again, we're going to press back into our plank pose, and I'll show you the modification first. Your knees can be off the ground if you want them to be, otherwise your left knee stays down there. We're going to lift our right leg back behind us. And then pressing down into the hands, we're going to squeeze that right knee towards the back of the right arm. Yeah, we reach that right leg back behind us. And then we see if we can squeeze that right knee towards the back of the arm. This time we're going to step that right foot back and we're going to come back into our downward facing dog. Yeah, we're going to explore a very similar movement here in down dog. Now the modification for this one is have your knees down on the ground. Okay, and you're doing it through hands and knees. Because we're going to float our left leg up behind us. And then we're going to see if we can stack our shoulders over our wrists and squeeze our left knee towards the back of our left arm. Yeah, so we float that left leg back behind us. And then we see if we can squeeze that left knee towards the back of the left arm as we step forwards and plank. Pop that left foot back in downward facing dog. Get those knees down on the ground if you need to, want to. Sometimes you want to, and that's okay, right? Listen to your body. So again, we're going to float the right leg up behind us. And then we're going to see if we can squeeze that right knee towards the back of the right arm as we step forwards and plank. We reach that right leg back behind us. And we squeeze that right knee forwards as we stack over and plank. And then just pop that foot back in downward facing dog. Let's grip our hands back to our feet so that we're in forward fold at the back of our mats. And just taking a few breaths here, we're going to really find our feet down into the floor. Now, I know that I'm always saying it, you know, that bend your knees, get that belly connected to your thighs. Maybe with that connection of belly to your thighs, you can straighten your legs. But at least there's integrity in that pose then. Our back's not taking all of the strain for tightness through the back of our legs. Just another breath here, just noticing. And then we're going to start to float and float. Inhale, lift up towards halfway. Maybe you get there, maybe not. Exhale back down into the forward fold. Inhale, rise up towards halfway. Your hands glide up your shin, maybe up to your thighs, draw your shoulder blades back a little. Exhale back down into forward fold, soften those knees. Inhale, come up to halfway. Maybe this time you get all the way there and then exhale back down into forward fold. From here, we're going to inhale and rise up to the chair. We're going to draw our hands in front of our heart space in prayer. And then rock your weight into your left foot. Squeeze your right knee towards you. Now, anytime that breath instruction stops, you're going to really focus your attention on grounding down towards the floor. And you're going to maintain that full, even flowing breath. Let's rise up to stand, extend that right leg out in front of us. Stay here for another couple of breaths. And then we're going to send it back behind us, and we're just going to float forwards into Warrior Three. Yeah, you might be like me and have a lovely little cheek behind you and be able to best your foot on a wall. Just be aware if you do use the wall at all, sometimes it can intensify poses. And so just be conscious of maybe a desire that you might have to push a little harder than you're ready for. Now from here, we're going to glide that left knee down. We're going to rise up to stand. And we're going to see if we can take hold of that right foot behind us. That's it. So in this pose here, we're going to glide that right knee back a little further so it's really aligned with our left knee. We're going to just soften our hips forward slightly so that we're finding this long line of our body, because there can be a tendency here to kind of hunch forwards. Now just know though that it's okay if you're there a little bit more curved in this pose. It's a gradual movement of finding those long lines. That's it. Let's soften that foot back down to the floor. Inhale, reach your hands towards the sky. Lift your gaze. And exhale, swan dive forwards, all the way into forward fold. Soften those knees. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, back down into forward fold. Inhale, rise to your awkward chair. Exhale, hands come down. That's it. We're going to inhale, sweep our hands towards the sky. Lift our gaze. One more cycle through. Let's exhale all the way down into forward fold. Rising up again to halfway lift. And back down into forward fold. So that you can rise up into your awkward chair. Now in our chair pose now, we're going to rock our weight over into our right foot. We're going to draw hands into prayer in front of our heart space and hug that left knee towards us. We're going to rise up to stand and see if we can extend that left leg out long. How grounded are you down into that right foot? Can you increase that connection a little? Or your awareness of that connection a little? Can you rise up a little stronger through that leg? Right? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the balance is enough for you. And then we're going to float it forwards and see if we can come to a warrior three. Oh, goodness, that lovely wall behind me, quite unexpected. Yeah, and remember that if you do have a wall behind you and you are using it, that sometimes it can serve to intensify the pose a little. And so you're going to be aware of that. It really kind of gets you into certain alignments that your body may not be quite used to. From here, we're going to rise up to stand. We're going to bend that left knee. And we're going to take hold of it in our left hand. Remember, rest when you need to. That's part of your modifying of your practice. We're going to glide that left knee back a little. And we're going to float those hips forwards a little. So that we're finding the length down the left side of our body. It may be a gradual process, right? You may stay just a little bit hunched over to start. And so if you are a little hunched over, let that be your first movement, rising up. And then let the drawing back of your knee towards your other knee be your next movement. And then maybe you're able to soften your hips forwards again. Let's release that foot down to the floor. Inhale, sweep your hands towards the ceiling. Lift your gaze. Exhale, swan dive forwards into forward fold. This time from forward fold, we're going to creep our hands forwards on the inhale to downward facing dog. And we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths, just exploring this pose. You need to lean feet. Does it feel good? Drawing down towards the floor. Whereas your head, just the back of your head, representing your spine as one of its curves. Press your little fingers down towards the earth. What happens then? Is there a slight rotation inwards of your elbow creases? And then press all of your fingers down. Can you find that real deep connection? From here, we're going to lift our gaze between our hands. And then as you exhale, strong through your belly, step your feet forwards with a little bit of an easier step forwards than usual, maybe, maybe not. We're going to inhale and we're going to rise all the way up to standing. And then exhale, your hands down into prayer. Rock your weight over into your left foot. Step your right foot back into warrior. Yeah, so your right toes draw forwards a little. We have that lifting up. This crease down the front of me is my spine. It's long, lifting up from my tail. Even as I press that left knee down over my left ankle. Float up those hands. Ready? We're going to take a movement of 3, but we're going to pause on our first little movement through so we get the hang of it. So we're going to rock forwards the back of our left arm against our left inner thigh. Our right arm reaches. We find that space across the arms. Yeah, just exploring this pose. Does that left knee want to draw back? Can we ground it down? Can we still find that lovely long length of the spine? And then on the inhale, we're going to rock back, straightening that left leg, touching that right palm down, reaching that left palm back behind us. Remember, we're taking a little pause here. I want you to be aware of your feet. Are they still pressing down towards the floor? Are they still nice and strong? Can you find a little stretch down through your left-hand side without hurting your back? Be gentle. And then twice more. So as you exhale, bend that left leg back of your left arm towards your inner thigh, right arm reaches. And as you inhale, rock back, straightening that left leg, pressing that left palm back behind you, lifting your gaze maybe. As you exhale, bending that left knee, back of your left arm towards your inner thigh, right arm reaches. And then rocking back again on the inhale, pressing that left palm back towards the back of your mat, right palm touches down. Let's take a cartwheel of our hands down either side of the left foot, press down into that left foot and see if you can float your right foot up behind you. Taking a couple more breaths there, just exploring your standing split. It's okay for that left knee to be bent, but maybe you start to straighten it over time. Maybe you start to send that right leg up, up, up. And then that right foot's going to touch down beside the left. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale, back down into forward fold. Inhale up to awkward chair. Exhale, rise to stand. Inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale, hands down in prayer in front of your heart space. Rock your weight into your right foot, step your left foot. Again, we're back in that warrior stance. We're gliding that right knee forwards though. Yeah, over our ankle. And again, if you imagine that this crease in my t-shirt, it's quite hard to see because it's a dark color, is my spine rising up from my tail. And I can adjust my stance accordingly. Yeah, adjust your feet so that you do have that lifting up. And then we're going to take that movement again. We're going to take a little pause. Even though we took it on the other side, we're going to pause again on this side just to get a feel for it. So we rock forwards the back of our right arm against our right inner thigh and our left arm reaches. How can you find that alignment of your head, the alignment of your spine, reaching between your fingers? It's another line there, right? Now on your inhale legs, we're going to straighten that right leg, but don't hold your breath. Keep breathing because we're pausing here. Left palm touches down, right palm reaches towards the back. That's it. Just finding that space along the side body. Maybe you can feel it, maybe not. And then we're moving through twice more. So as you exhale, pressing forwards, right arm against the right, and left arm reaches, finding that line. And as you inhale, rock back, touching that left palm down, reaching that right palm towards the back, lifting your gaze maybe. As you exhale, press down. That's it, bringing that right knee over the ankle. And as you inhale, rock back. Yeah, and then from here, we're going to do that little cartwheel of our hands down beside our right foot. Press down into your right foot and see if you can float that left leg up behind you. We're exploring this standing split for a few breaths, just seeing if we can really ground down through that leg and lift the other one. One side's probably going to feel a little different than the other. It's all good. Now we do have one side a little more solid than the other. We're just here to find some balance. Let's lower that left foot down beside the right, soften forwards into forward fold. Walk those feet together. Press your legs together. Find the seam of your legs. Bring your hands into prayer and rest your elbows just on top of your knees. Does that feel okay for you? And then lift up that upper body. So you're sitting down through the hips and your hands are now in front of your heart space of prayer. Now can you deepen this pose a little? You still feeling okay? If you're not, just come and stand up. It's all good. We're going to glide that right elbow down towards our right thigh. We're going to play around with this squeezing, this twisting, this extending, without pushing. Don't force yourself around. Just notice. Just noticing the narrowing of your waist. Stay low, come back to center. Let's rise up to stand. Just notice your breath. It's a funny little pose, this one. Our feet are really close. Some of you may have this as your natural standing pose. And then we're going to sit down into the pose again. We're going to send our sit bones down and glide your left elbow down towards your left thigh. Hands in prayer in front of your heart space. Finding again that rotation through the waist. And maybe you bring your gaze out towards your right shoulder. Maybe that's the next movement through twist. And then unwind. Come back round to center, come to stand. Bring those feet a little wider so that now you're in Tadasana, you're sit bone distance apart through your feet. And just notice and explore. Then breathe. Nice even pressure down through your feet. And let's connect back in with that breath again. Inhale those hands up towards the sky. Exhale, swan dive forwards into forward fold. Bend your knees, press your hands down to the floor. We're going to come back into plank pose. And then we're just going to play around with whether or not you're ready for up dog. Here's one of the ways we're going to gauge it. Can you bend your elbows to lower and hover off the ground? Does that feel okay? Yeah. Let's lower all the way down to the floor and inhale, lift to cobra. From cobra, tuck your toes, come through all fours. Press back into your child's pose. Bit of space between your knees for your body to rest. You can feel nice to take a little rock from side to side, just compressing and releasing through your hips. And just check in your child's pose. Just notice, does your back feel all right? Do your ankles feel all right? Do your wrists, elbows, shoulders feel all right? You want to really settle into those points and just check in. Is up dog going to be okay for you? If it's not, then you're going to take cobra again. You're going to inhale, come to hands and knees. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Now, as you inhale, lift your gaze between your hands and rock forwards so that you're in plank pose, shoulders stack over wrist, and as you exhale, lower down to hover. Either lower all the way down to cobra or come over the top of your feet and lift into up dog. But maintain that nice steady pressure down into your hands through the top of your feet. It's not a collapse through your low back, it's a reaching and extending away through the front of your body. If you're in up dog, roll over your toes to down dog. If you're in cobra, come through all fours and then make your way down dog. Again, we're going to take a little movement of 3. So as you inhale, lower your knees down to the floor to hands and knees. And as you exhale, press back into child's pose. As you inhale, back to hands and knees. And as you exhale into downward facing dog. 2 more of those. Move in your own time if you can. Inhale and come into hands and knees. Exhaling back to child's pose. Inhaling, coming to hands and knees. Exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. 1 more. Inhale to hands and knees. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale to hands and knees. Exhale to downward facing dog. This time from the down dog, we're going to step our left knee forwards towards the back of our left wrist and we're going to lower it down to the floor. Now, if you know pigeon pose is a real challenging pose for you through the hips, I'm going to give you a different option in a moment. Okay, so left knee towards the back of your left wrist, left ankle towards the back of your right wrist so that your lower leg is kind of running across your body. And then for some of you, you might be able to just reach that right leg a little further away, pop it down on the floor, maybe lower down onto your forearms. But just play around with how you feel on that in that pose while I give my other things a modification. So if pigeon pose is just quite difficult, I want you to lie on your back, bend your right knee, pop the sole of your right foot on the floor, bring your left ankle on top of your right thigh, either stay right here or hug your right thigh in towards you and take that stretch through your left hip. Now you're still getting a stretch through your left hip here, but it's probably not quite so intense. And so just modify and do what feels better. And we do not need to be forcing ourselves into shapes. Practicing some kindness for our body. And in whichever pose you've chosen to take, just check in. If at any time it starts to feel like it's not okay, like it's hurting your joints, then I challenge you to move out of it. You do not need to cause pain, inflict pain on your joints. You're here for a few more breaths, just really connecting with how the pose, whichever pose you're in, is feeling. If you're in this pigeon pose, just engage your right side, so your right glute is still nice and connected and engaged. The top of your right foot is deepening down towards the floor. And if you're resting your belly down on the ground or your forearms down on the ground, then just start to rise up. Now, if you're in pigeon pose, if you're lying on your back, stay there. We're going to tuck our right toes under, and we're going to step that left foot back so that now we're in downward facing dog again. Just pumping your heels, noticing this pose. Right, and if you're down on your back, then you're going to stretch out your right hip now. So you're going to change your legs, taking the pose that you were taking, but on the other side, keep your feet flexed. If you're taking pigeon pose with me, we're going to step our right knee forwards to the back of our right wrist. It's going to come across the body a little, lower leg. Yeah. And you might be able to walk that left leg back slightly. Again, keep that left side engaged, keep the back of your leg engaged, and you can do that by pressing down into the top of your right foot. For some of you, it might be appropriate or okay to rest down on the forearms. And for some of you, you might be able to rest your forehead down to the floor. So just do whatever feels best for you. Remembering that you're not forcing your body into painful poses. The challenge is okay. And we're staying here for another couple of breaths, but remember, as soon as something gets too much, you come out of it. Remember, if you're lying down on your back, your feet are flexed. And you're enjoying the stretch down through your right hip, you're just in a different space, enjoying it. Now, if you're here in pigeon pose, let's tuck those left toes under. Rise up a little, lifting your upper body if you have descended it. And then we're going to step that right foot back to the left, and we're going to pump out our feet again. Now, if you're down on the floor lying on your back, roll over onto your side, press yourself up to seated and come into a wide-legged pose. Now we're going to join you there. We're going to come down to seated and we're going to extend our legs out wide. And just notice, what is the tendency of your feet here? Do they want to roll in? Do they want to roll back? Let's keep them aligned so that our shins are towards the ceiling, so that our big toes are towards the ceiling. Sit up on a blanket if you like. Maybe you've got the space to fold forwards between the legs. Surrendering down into this pose, so you are allowing your body to relax forwards, but there is still that lovely tension through your legs as you draw your toes back. Yeah, as you keep that flexibility moving through the back of your legs, but a little bit of a contraction through the front. Let's make our way back up to seated. We're going to bring the sole of the right foot towards our left inner thigh. We're going to bring our left palm towards the ceiling, the back of the left hand rests down on the leg. Now, I like a little bit of space between my foot and my thigh, just so that my seated pose is a little wider, a little more balanced, a little more stable. But you just do what works for you. I just want you to know that that foot doesn't have to be connected. It's just over there. We're going to glide that left hand down a little towards our ankle. Not too far. Remember that crease in my t-shirt? Right, if that's my spine, it's not curving over to the side, it's leaning. And then I'm going to sweep my right hand towards my fingers and up and over. Now what I'm going to try and find here is a long line between my right sit bone and my right fingers. It might change what the pose is sometimes for some of you, right? If your aim usually is to get those right fingers down on top of your left toe, yeah, it's a little different. Ours is just a reaching and extending. Maybe you can lift your gaze towards that right arm. How's that breath? Really, if you've lost that breath a little, come back to that connection to the floor, round down into the floor. Imagine you're sitting on quite a soft, yielding surface. And rising back up again. Let's let that settle through the back for a moment. I'm not in any rush to come anywhere else. Now I'm going to bring the sole of that foot towards the inner thigh. And my next pose is going to involve a little bit of a twist. And that's the twist of my belly button here towards that left inner thigh, right? So there's my movement. Here's my belly button, I'm twisting. And bringing my gaze out towards my left toes. And then from there, I'm going to start creeping my hands down my left leg. And this right rib cage here is going to wrap down. So can you explore that as a twist? Not just as an extension through your leg, there is also a twist happening here. Now, because there is a twist going on as you fold, I want you to be conscious of how your back's feeling. You're not pulling into it too far. And you're ready, we're going to come back up to seated. And let that settle in. It's that feeling. And then we're going to come around to the other side. We're going to bring that right leg out long. We're going to have that left foot. Now, I don't have my left foot connected to my thigh. You might. Right, it's going to depend on where your legs sit on your mat. If your pose is a little smaller here, then your foot's going to touch your thigh. If you can bring that leg out a little wider, then probably it's not. Yeah, but the base is nice and strong. We're sitting nice and firmly down into our sit bones. The back of your right arm resting down on your thigh. Remember that line in my t-shirt? Yeah. I'll draw that on next time, so mark. We're going to glide that hand down towards our ankle. Leaning, and we're going to sweep that left hand towards the fingers and up and over. Again, what I'm trying to find here is the long line between my left fingertips and my left sit bone. Rather than trying to bring my left fingertips down to touch my right toes. A little bit of a different action. Now, if you want, you can lift your gaze towards that left arm because that's going to help you rotate that left rib cage back in. And then let's rise up. And just let that settle. And as that settles, you can start setting up for the next pose. We bring that left foot now to touch our right thigh. And if my belly button's here, it is my belly button. We're going to take a little twist. So my belly button now is going to wrap towards the inside of my right thigh. So in a little twist. My left hand is going to rest down on my left knee. That's just where I like to start from. My right hand is going to touch down beside me. Now attention here really rests on the twisting that's happening. And from there, if it feels okay to, you might want to creep your hands down that leg and fold towards it. Right, and throughout, there's this little wrapping of your left rib cage down. And that's in this pose that sometimes there's that tendency to want to drop your head down towards your calf, or your shin rather, makes you feel like you're a little further in this fold. Keep practicing with that integrity, with that self-love of knowing that if you drop your head towards your shin, you're kinking up your throat, you're moving your cervical spine, the spine at the back of your neck, a little more than the rest of your spine. Right, so practicing with integrity, reaching out from the crown of your head away from your tail, even as you twist your belly button towards your inner thigh, and as you fold. Noticing and paying attention to whether or not this feels okay. And when any of you straining your backs or hurting yourselves. And then we're going to make our way back up to seat. Bring the soles of your feet together into butterfly pose. And it might feel good to just bring your hands around your feet so that your toes are resting to the inside of your hands. Just let that settle in. If this pose doesn't feel okay, legs extended, right? I'm trusting you out there to keep modifying your practice. As your mind staying here on your mat, within your body, notice your thoughts. Come back to that practice of self-love. From here, we're going to extend our legs out long. Always like a bit of space between, rather than pressing your legs together. So you can have a bit more space than sit bone distance or a little less, depending on the shape of your body and what works best for you. But first, let's take that lifting up from the sit bones. Now, if that's really challenging or if you're leaning backwards, then I recommend you sit up on a blanket or something. Just elevate your sit bones. It's going to make the pose a lot nicer. And then from here, maybe you've got the space to take a little forwards over your legs. Maybe you want to take a little tuck of your chin and really extend the crown of your head towards your big toes. And it might be that as you continue to breathe, maybe you can deepen this pose a little. Maybe you recognize that there's something happening and you're compensating for the flexibility of your legs through curving the back. And maybe you correct that. Returning up to seated. We're going to come into seated cross-legged if that feels okay. Otherwise, a seated pose that does. And if you need to be in a chair, because we're going to be taking a shoulder stretch. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach our right arm behind our back and glide the back of our hand up our spine. So I'm going to turn around and show you that. We're going to bring our left hand up and over. And maybe your fingers connect, maybe they don't. So up the back. The other hand reaches up and over. Then it might be a little more like, one hand quite low down your back, the other hand resting on the back of your neck. What I'd really love you to do in this pose is to notice if you've got any pain through your shoulder joints and move out of it if that's the case. Notice if you're starting to poke your belly forwards. And with your exhale, lift and engage your pelvic floor, drawing your belly button towards your spine, rising up. And let's unwind that. Touch those hands down onto your knees. Just let that settle. Sounds feel a little different, right? Maybe one feels a little heavier than the other, one feels a little more attuned to your attention. And we bring that left hand now, we glide it up the spine. And we reach that right hand up and over, and fingertips towards the other hand. One arm is probably going to be tighter than the other. Now, in this practice of self-love, of accepting our bodies, I want you to understand that one side of your body is tighter than the other because it's developed a strength and stability. Now, it's developed that stability to support your more flexible side. And so often we think of that as a bad thing. I'm so tight down the side of my body. Rather than thinking about it that way, come from a place of love. My body is tight on this side to support my more flexible side, and understand that it serves a purpose and that we're trying to find a little balance, and that's fine, right? We don't want one side to become too tight or stable. And so we're finding a little balance, but approach that with love rather than judgment, because it's okay. It's happened for a reason. And let's let those hands unwind. Again, hands just touching down onto your knees. Before you take any big shrugs or rolls of your shoulders, just noticing. You might want to take some gentle movements, just observe how they're feeling. That's it. And then we're coming down towards the floor. Now, I have been guiding you through a modified shoulder stand in some of our practices, and I'm just going to show you that again. The wonderful thing about this modified shoulder stand is it brings you so that your feet are up the wall. And so then you can stay there for a little while, if you like, with both of your feet resting up the wall in that wonderful restorative rest pose. If you don't have a blanket like I do, it's okay, you can still take the pose. Yeah? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my blanket folded against the wall. And then I'm just going to sit up on that. Now, if you want to take shoulder stand, then you can take it now, or I will guide you through that in a moment. I'm going to take this modified shoulder stand first. Now, my hip is right up against the wall here, so I don't have to shimmy too much once I'm down on the ground. And from there, I lie down and reach my leg up the wall. And just adjust so that your bottom is nice and close to the wall. And just explore this pose here for a moment. Bend your knees when you're ready. Press the soles of your feet into the wall. And then if you want, you can start to lift your hips up. And then maybe you want to lift your feet off the wall into shoulder stand. But just see how that feels. Now, if you're already in shoulder stand, all good. If you want to come through me as I guide you through shoulder stand, then we're going to, now we're going to draw our knees towards our belly. And then we're just going to lift hips up off the floor. Yeah, now I'm still quite jackknifed, right? My hips are still away from my chin. Maybe you want to lift them a little higher. Hips still away from the chin, right? I don't want too much strain through the back of my neck. And just notice the changes happening in your body because your heart's slowing down a little. But suppose it's really nice for your blood pressure. So as long as it feels okay, we want that benefit to outweigh the risk, yeah? And just a couple more breaths here, so long as it's still feeling okay. And then to come out of shoulder stand, if we're not up against the wall, we're going to glide our legs quite close to our face. And we're going to roll our spine down to the floor. And then just keep those knees bent, drawn in towards your belly. If you're up against the wall, just come down the way you went up. But you can stay there with your feet up the wall for a little while longer if you like. Otherwise, just bending those knees, rolling over onto your side and making your way down to the middle. Now, our counter for that pose is always a nice gentle one. You keep it gentle today. So just popping those feet down on the floor, reaching your legs out long. If your legs are still up the wall, just be comfortable, just stay there. We're going to squeeze our shoulders towards each other, point our feet. Engage your glutes, lift your belly a little, and lift your gaze behind you. And then just soften and release everything down to the floor. Now, as you prepare for Shavasana, bend your knees, lift your hips, coil your tail under a little and pop those hips back down. If you want to, you can have a rolled up blanket under the back of your knee. It's really nice and supportive and just eases the tension through the front of your body. But when you are ready, just resting back down on your back, hands down beside you, palms towards the ceiling if that feels okay. Some space between the legs. Maybe draw your chin towards your chest just a little and then let it relax. And just notice. Notice how you're feeling. This is some lovely energy rolling around the body right now. And so just allowing yourself to feel that energy moving. And again, just sending some love out to this body, out to your body. Taking some time to appreciate it and all that it does. And all that it has done as it carries you around. And just release and let go. Let this body have some time to relax. And feeling the ground underneath you, feeling all the points that connect you to the earth. All parts of your physical body that are connected to the ground. Maybe you can soften a little more down towards these points. And with each breath, letting go a little more, feeling the deepening of this relaxation. And feeling your breath as you inhale the chill of the air outside. And as you exhale the warmth of your body. As you inhale, feeling nurtured and nourished by the earth. And as you exhale, releasing, letting go of anything that doesn't serve you. As you inhale, feeling that gentle rise of your body. As you exhale, that softening, that descent. Recognizing that tidal motion of your breath. And the way that the water in your body takes the shape of the earth that you rest on. Allowing this softness. Letting go. And surrendering to Shavasana. And because you're caring and being nurturing to the physical body, allow yourself a moment to take a breath, wiggle your fingers, maybe stretch through your toes. And maybe it feels good to take a stretch. Maybe you and with ease, support yourself. Conscious of your movements as you roll over onto your side. And then gradually press yourself up into a seated position. If you can, keep your eyes closed. When you come into this seated position, take a moment to recognize your greatness. The miracle that is you. Because this life is a wonderful blessing. And you are just as you were meant to be. Divine and wonderful and beautiful. Acknowledge that and feel that. Know that it is truth. And thank you for joining me today in this practice. Namaste.